Hey there, Sarah here from Sheet Talking and Design, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you've decided to join me. Today I have this cute decorative wooden pumpkin project that I'm going to walk you through. It's so easy to make this on your own. I've just chosen to use some scrap 2x4 material that I had laying around the house, and I'm going to show you here. I decided that they were going to be a certain size, but I really wasn't measuring. I just wanted straight lines. So I used the square as my straight line. And then I also used my square as my guide for my jigsaw so that it had a straight line to guide it against, and I would get a straight cut. This was the first time I'd done this. My husband actually showed me this trick and it worked out really well. So if you have a jigsaw and are cutting your own wood, this is an option for you as well. Obviously smaller pieces. So after I cut all 3 pieces, I'm making a set of 3 here. I went ahead and found the right size drill bit and drilled holes in the top of my wood pieces because I'm going to put in these sticks to make the stems of my pumpkins. So once I knew the holes were the right size and the stick was fitting properly, I went ahead and sanded up. One of my 2x4s was a little bit rougher than the other, so I wanted to get a little bit of a smoother finish. It's not perfect. I just smoothed out the edges so that it wasn't rough, primarily so that it would be easier for me to paint because as you're going to see here shortly, I paint these pumpkins. So I'm using my cordless hand sander here. I have a set of Ryobi tools that I was given as a gift and I absolutely love them. This sander is super lightweight and easy to use and does a great job. So I went ahead and just broke my sticks. I did not measure. I just by eye liked the way that looked. So I stuck it in the hole and then broke it off. I wanted it to be natural looking. So I just snapped them off, and whatever the tops looked like, that's exactly how I left it. Now, this part of the stick is a little bit wider. There was a bit of a knot there. So I just went and grabbed my utility knife and started to whittle this off. Now, a carver I am not, but this managed to do the trick. And I just used that straight blade, cutting away from myself to be safe, and was able to slice that down enough to be able to get it in the hole. Now, I will say that just a reminder, I am a crafter here and I'm just showing you my techniques and how I choose to do these things. And just remember that whatever you choose to use power tools wise or cutting wise, you just need to be safe. So next up, I went ahead and grabbed my craft paint. I have a full rainbow of acrylic craft paints. I pick them up almost every time I'm at the dollar store. I grab whatever colors I see because that is the most expensive place to find them. And I use acrylic craft paint a lot. It washes up easy and I get great coverage, and typically I only need one coat when I'm painting any of my projects. So nothing fancy. I just squirt it on and I use my foam brush and get all of my wood blocks covered here. I did just do the top and fronts and backs and the sides. I did not paint the bottoms of these wooden blocks. They're not going to be seen. And this is going to be indoor decor, so I'm not really worried about sealing the wood or anything like that. So, but certainly I chose to do mine orange. You can do yours whatever color you like. I'm really inspired with these, and I think I'm going to play with another set specifically for outdoors this week. So stay tuned for that. So once they were all dry, I came inside to the craft room and pulled out some sandpaper next because I don't want them to be just a solid orange. So actually, I pull out some brown paint first. This one is called Burnt Umber, if you're curious on the name. And I used my chip brush, which is a really rough-ended brush. I grabbed mine at Michael's, but you can grab yours at whatever craft store you have or at Amazon. And so the technique here is called dry brushing. So I'm going to take a paper towel and some of that paint, and I'm going to brush it off onto the paper towel because I don't want a ton of paint. I just want a little bit, and having the paint on the brush is too much. So just brush it on the paper towel and then brush it on my wood piece, and that way I get a little bit more control over how much brown is coming onto that pumpkin. And this is an art, not a science. Play with it until you get it to look the way that you like it to look. Maybe you don't want a rustic or a farmhouse type look or a worn look, and just go with a solid color, whatever suits you best. That's the beauty of crafting. You can do whatever speaks to your eye and your mind. So go ahead and get that all done. And next up, I'll show you how I'm going to sand some of this paint off. Just a note that if you love the content and you want to see more from us, please like, comment, subscribe, share, do all the things, hit the bell, so that when I upload new content, you will get notification and you will be able to see it right away quick. Also, please leave your feedback in the comments. It's really important to us as we're growing our business. We'd love to hear from you as to what kind of projects you would like to see us work on here. So always leave your comments and I will be sure to get back to you. So here you see, I'm just using some sandpaper. Now, this is 220 grit. I just pulled it out of my pile. I pick up sandpaper wherever I can find it. Sometimes I'm snagging it from my husband's workshop, but you can totally get sandpaper from the dollar store as well. So keep your eyes out for that and have some sandpaper on hand. It doesn't take a whole lot to sand off enough to make it look rough and worn. And again, it's an art, not a science. So you do it how you like it to look. I fussed with this a little bit longer than I probably should have, but I wanted to get more of that orange paint off. I wanted it to be a little less solid. So I did sand a fair amount here, and it creates, you can see all that paint dust on my workspace. So I'm just using a dry paintbrush to clean it off. Cleaning off my surfaces as well so that I can go in with them with my chalk paste, which is what I'm going to do next. And so all of my pumpkins are pretty near ready to go, and I'm just going to take a little bit more off of this one big one. It's taking a bit more time. It was a much bigger piece, and I got the paint on a little bit thicker than I probably should have, but easy to rectify and sand off and get it to look the way I wanted it to look. These wooden blocks are so forgiving and great to work with, and you really can create all sorts of things. While I was making this project, I actually was inspired to make a couple of other seasonal things using some 2x4 scraps. So really great, and look forward to making some new things. One of the reasons I decided to make this project was because I had taken a visit to a local gift store. I was there to do a couple of other things, and I saw these cute wooden pumpkin display, and they were on sale. They were sold as a set of 3, very, very similar to this. And I was a little shocked when I looked at the sticker and saw what they were selling them for, and thought, oh, there's no way that I can spend a portion of my family's budget this week on those cute decor pieces, but I know I have a lot of these things at home and I can recreate this. So I was inspired to do that, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. So these are some chalk transfers that I have. These are retired ones. They're no longer available. But I've had them in my stash for a while now, and they come in handy. It's great to have a good supply of different designs in your craft room so that you can use them. Now, I'm noticing here that I'm going to do a reverse transfer here. So I'm going to put black chalk paste on this, and the whole pumpkin is going to turn black, and then the face is going to show as orange. And I actually like the way this turns out. You'll see in a second. This chalk paste is so easy to work with. I just take some out of my pot with my squeegee there and drag it across my silk screen transfer, and it's going to leave that design on my wooden pumpkin. Now, if you don't have chalk paste and you don't have transfers, that's okay. You could totally draw this on and paint it in with a black, with black paint and a paintbrush. But if you do like the way this turns out, be sure to check out my website. The link is in the description of this video below, and it will take you directly to my website where you can shop for your own transfers and chalk paste and supplies. Isn't that awesome? The little face on this pumpkin, I just love the way it looks, and I love how it just rolls off the edge, and it's absolute perfection. So I went back and forth here. I was gonna add that little pumpkin, and then I'm just flipping through a couple of other transfers that I have. These are little ones. They're called minis, and they come 12 to a sheet, and I love the words and the font on this one. So I went ahead and decided to add this, the words trick or treat to this pumpkin. Again, using my black chalk paste so for a cohesive look. Just add a little bit. It doesn't take very much, and it's super quick. That's the other thing I like about using my transfers, is that I get that awesome design and that clean, crisp lettering, and it takes no time at all, like a matter of seconds, and I have it looking amazing. And my handwriting's not that great, and nor are my painting skills, so there's no way I'd be able to freehand that. So lastly, I was going to leave this last pumpkin blank, but then I thought, no, it just needs a little bit of something to make it so that looks like it's part of this trio. So this little transfer, you can't see it, but you will when I give you an up close. There is some little dots and a star in the corner of this transfer. So that's all I'm using is the edge there, and I'm going to repeat it on the opposite corner, and then that pumpkin is done. It's got these cute little stars and polka dots on it, and it's all ready to for its final embellishments. Now, what you don't see in this video is that the quick, easy cleanup happens afterwards, but those stars look adorable on that pumpkin, and just give it a little bit of extra. There is a video in the library. I'll try and link it in the description or in the cards of this video for how you can clean up your supplies. Clean up on the transfers and on the squeegee is just with water. Warm water and a sponge is all you need, and then leave them to air dry, and everything is reusable, which is so nice. You buy your supplies once and use it over and over and over again. So here I'm just adding a little bit of wood glue, and I'm going to add those sticks. The wood glue will provide a nice tight bond. I'm just putting it on the inside of the holes that I drilled. Now, just a word of caution here. Make sure you clean up extra any spillage or squeeze out because your wood glue you'll see it and you won't like it. So make sure you clean up that little bit of squeeze out in the top there. Aren't they adorable? And this is just a stick that I found on my walk that I had done that morning, and it was the perfect size for these 2x4s to make these little pumpkins. So I add my stick to each pumpkin there with a little bit of glue, making sure that there's no spill out because I don't like the way that looks. And that's a nice tight fit, and get them squeezed in there. And then we will add the final embellishment, and they will be done. But like I said, I loved this project and how it worked out. So I think I'm going to get some bigger material and see what we've got in the workshop, and make a bigger set of 3 for outside on the front porch. So keep an eye out for that video next week, and I will be sure to share how we do that. I think I'm going to change up the look a little bit, so make sure you tune in. So the last pumpkin is getting its stem, and this is the one that I had to whittle down a little bit. So I just give it a good twist and make sure that it's really well pushed in there. I probably could have cut a little bit more off so that it was a little bit looser, but that's also a fine art of figuring out. You don't want it too loose. So this worked out just fine. And then I just clean up with a paper towel, make sure there's no glue on the tops. And then we go in with our final embellishment, which is just a little bit of raffia. Now, I have purchased my raffia at different places. I look for it every time I go to the dollar store and pick it up. But I'm pretty sure I got this at Michael's. And I've had it for such a long time. It's a huge package and it's wound in there so tight, it lasts you forever. And I always save my little cutoff pieces. So don't throw those in the garbage because you never know when you're gonna need a little bit to glue onto something or to tie onto something. So don't get rid of the scraps. Make sure you hang on to those. But here I'm just taking a little bit and I'm gonna just tie a simple knot at the top of each pumpkin. And I did contemplate putting a bead of hot glue there just to hold it tight. And I also contemplated doing a double knot, but the double knot looked too thick to me and I just wanted it to be simple. So I left it at that, and they have not come loose. The single knot has not come loose. So I don't think the double knot was necessary, and nor was any hot glue. It worked out just fine. So that's another tip there for you. Just one knot works. And then I'll trim them up afterwards. Once I get all three of them tied on, I will trim them so that they look absolutely gorgeous. Another tip for you is to look for these kinds of craft supplies at thrift stores. I often see craft supplies that get donated at different thrift stores that I frequent every week. So always look for them there as well, because you can usually pick up some supplies pretty cheap at the thrift store. And then use them for whatever it is you're creating. Oftentimes a walk through the thrift store is inspiring for me, and that's how I get some of my project ideas. So just tie on the last little piece of raffia here. So make sure that each one has got a little bit, and you could make raggy bows here. You could do fabric, you could do whatever you want. Leave them plain, it doesn't matter. Again, the creative process is up to each individual and you will find what appeals to you. But I really like the raffia, screams fall to me. So I really like having it as an embellishment on these cute little pumpkins. And there you go. Save those scraps. I just keep them in a Ziploc bag in one of my craft drawers because you never know when you're going to need them. So then I just trimmed mine up, gave them a little haircut so that they were all pretty consistent in their length, and saved the scraps, and that's it. This project is done. Now you could seal these pumpkins with Mod Podge if you wanted to, or your sealer of choice. I left mine without sealer because they're not going outside, so I'm not really worried about it. But if you live in a place where you might get little fingerprints on them and you feel like you might have to wipe them down often, then I do recommend some sort of a sealer, just because it will make it easier to wipe up any little fingerprints or dust that might get on them. So there you have it, my recreation of a high-end decor piece from the gift shop. This cost me pennies to make. If you didn't have any of the supplies, it probably cost you around $10 to recreate this project, but a super fun one that was made in no time flat. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I hit new content. And also please like and comment. That's important to me as well. Share what information, share what projects you'd like to see me do next. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you the next time.